Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Aldo Cycling Podcast. Today, talking about Gent to Wevelgem. We have quite recently finished watching E3 Saxo Bank Classic, E3 Harbecker, whatever. Good race, good to see De Koenig actually bossing it like they used to. And we're going to move on to the next Flanders race, that's Gent to Wevelgem, on Sunday. Kind of seen as the Sprinters Classic, and you can kind of see why in the last 5 editions. You know, I think it's been 3 bunch sprints and 2 kind of very small groups, but then a bunch kick behind. So very understandably, sprinters are quite favoured in this. No Van der Poel here today. Well, today, Sunday. So, yeah, it's probably one of the easier classics, which is why you will see some of more of the sprinters on the start list. You'll be seeing Demar, Ackerman, Ballerini, Sam Bennett's coming. Whew, wow. Okay.
Wow. That just fucks up for every single other De Koenig guy here then.
It's a shame, isn't it, really? It's difficult to say what De Koenig are going to do, because if they're just going to ride defensively and go for a sprint, probably A with Bennett if he makes it. More than likely he won't. I feel like he'll get spat. Ballerini will be kind of a better option. I think he'll actually make it. And then they just tie it together with Lampard and Stibar and whoever other guy is that they'll bring. Because at the moment they've only got 6 people, so. And then they'll just have 3 people tying it together for a Ballerini sprint. We could do that. The only thing that is going to affect that is the wind, which seems to be a pretty stonking 18 miles an hour, which is however many K, 30k? 30-ish K, which is at the point of being significant. And lots of open roads, which means it's bound to be splits. But the thing is, the team who would want to split it up, or who would usually split it up, is De Koenig. But are they going to want to do that? Maybe just to try and shed some of the other sprinters, like Demar or Wout van Aert, and just kind of separate them from their team, and then just get the numbers superiority. And then in that run into the finish, because it's a crosswind and then followed by a cross tailwind in the last like 3k, maybe De Koenig can then just like, oh, now we're just going to attack with somebody, and nobody's going to have the numbers to follow. They could quite easily do that, especially since, you know, from today, I mean, Lampard starting, we saw him bridging across to that front group today. He looks super good, and he's probably, you know, he's really probably out to get a good result before. Yeah. I mean, he had a puncture, which means that he's going to want to do something like he's been short-handed, been short-changed from his efforts today. Going to want to actually use these good legs for something before he's put to the Alaphilippe bitch duty next Sunday.
But equally, like I'm looking through this start sheet, and unlike the race today, where there's a dozen or so people who can actually animate the race and are strong enough to attack and hold off, whatever, attack and then go and win.
Yeah.
I can't see anyone in this start list that can do what was done today, other than Van Aert.
Yeah, but he might be a bit cooked, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I just fear the thought. I think Mathieu van der Poel's made a good decision by not coming to this race. Because I'm not sure if Wout coming to all these races and contesting them all, that's going to be, I think, although it's one-day races, there is just an element of fatigue that he must be building up. You know, more than Mathieu, who's, this is 233k, I think. There's something like that, 230-ish K. You know, I feel like Mathieu will have more of an advantage at Flanders, but I guess that's a conversation for...
When's Flanders?
Next Sunday. A week.
I mean, that's Sunday. A while away.
It is a while away. I mean, who else have we got here? I think that, like you say, because of the lack of strength in this start list, more than likely a lot of people are going to play it out for a sprint and favour their sprinter. So we'll just go through who each team has as a sprinter. Mads Pedersen, start him off as number 1, because he is the number 1 on the start list. he didn't finish today, and I'm not too sure about what his form's like, to be honest with you. But it is a race that he's won before. He is the reigning champion, so you'd think that he'd be wanting to do well again.
Yeah, Stuyven has looked better.
Yeah.
But Stuyven showed that he doesn't back his sprint.
Yeah.
So, will they try and do something different? Because basically, Mads isn't going to be their guy. Stuyven might be their guy. Do they have to animate it?
Yeah.
To make something happen?
Yeah, they might attack in the crosswind, I reckon. Because Trek are quite good in crosswinds, and especially Mads Pedersen.
And another team, I know I'm jumping one, but Lotto Soudal, they don't really have a sprinter.
I'd say, weirdly enough, Degenkolb's very consistent in this race. He hasn't won, but he's finished top 10 5 times.
But if you're world tour and you're going into a race and you're like, I want to finish top 10 today. You shouldn't be a DS.
That's like a X kind of.
They're going to be thinking about, all right, how can we animate it? Because they animated one previously and seemed to just look like idiots. But maybe they can do better tomorrow.
AG2R, again, Greg Nason, but the rest of them will just be kind of dropped by the time you actually reach the finale. Saw from Greg and Nason today, just haven't quite sussed out. They haven't got that kind of telepathy sort of thing going on, despite how much they ride together, how much they train together. Somehow when it comes to a race scenario, they're not quite dialed in.
Well, no, it's because they're too friendly.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know how to put one ahead of the other. And equally, they might be spot on for 5th tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not winning.
I'd say that Nason is arguably faster in a sprint than Greg.
But he always looks absolutely dead by the end of a race.
That's true. Wout van Aert, of course, I think has got to be... Well, it's probably most people's favourites. I think you'll look around and see a lot of just his name badgered about.
Especially considering the fact that he's basically going to be going up against other sprinters, and these other sprinters aren't as fit as him.
Yeah.
So he'll just be fresher coming into the line, even though he has raced today.
Yeah, he's just more, as you said earlier, aerobic.
Yeah.
He's just got that better aerobicness. So that means on the climbs he's not going to be as gassed when he gets to the sprint. But of course, there's a long time between the final climb and the sprint. I think it's a good 30 Ks of just flat tarmac. But it's crosswind, so... But if you think crosswind, you think, Wout van Aert's not going to get caught out in a crosswind, is he? He only gets caught out when Mathieu counter-attacks him.
Ooh.
Which, well, he'll be safe in the knowledge that Mathieu van der Poel is not at the start of this race. Ackerman is a weird one because I can't ever really recall a time when Ackerman did a cobbled race and did well. So this is just really quite unknown. If Ackerman was going towards the finish line, okay, let's say hypothetically he's made it into the front group, is he going to beat Wout in a sprint? Could Ackerman win this race if he was in that front group?
Yeah.
I think he could.
Especially after Wout's day today.
Yeah, I think, but it's kind of will Ackerman actually make it there? Is the question. How good is he in crosswinds? I remember Paris-Nice last year. He was okay at them. But he just seems a little bit... And he's not particularly great at timing his sprint. This has been a point that's been brought up by many people. He'll hit out too early. But he does have Selig here if he makes it. And it's all kind of... Ackerman will do well if his guys are there, but there's no guarantee those guys are there. It's not just a sprint.
He hasn't finished Gent Wevelgem in the last 2 editions.
It's not looking promising then, is it?
Nope.
And it's not like he's got crazy legs at the moment either. He finished he finished 20-something for Milan San Remo in the second group, but, that's nothing spectacular, versus, if he was doing a Caleb Ewan and he was following people on the Poggio, I'd be like, oh, hold up, Ackerman could actually do something here. But instead, he's kind of... He could win, by all means, if he makes it, but I'm not holding out a massive amount of hope. Sepp van Mark is coming back from illness. He got a little bit of a a sniffle after a race he did the other week. And my thinking is that Sepp van Mark, coming off of that, will be quite good for Flanders next week, possibly, once he's kind of shook it off. But I think that in this race he'll still be recovering, so therefore I'm not liking that, despite how good he has looked this season. Bahrain have... who the hell? They've got Colbrelli, Bauhaus and Heinrich Hausler. It's pretty strong, but I'm not seeing a winner, to be honest with you. Colbrelli's more than likely their best guy. I'm the most likely to be there. But, you know, I am not seeing a Bahrain victorious person with her arms in the air at the finish line, to be honest with you. DSM have Case Bowl. Pretty decent shout, I reckon. But again, the climb, you know, the cobble climbs will be tricky for him. I know people are like, oh, he's Dutch and he's big. He must be good at climbing like the cobble design. There's no guarantee of that. He's a big guy. He's a lot of weight to shift. Nizzolo, weirdly quite in good form at the moment. Demar, after his Bruges de Pan unclipping mechanical incident, I guess we'll be looking to rectify that and get a good result under the belt here. I'm trying to think if he's won like a cobbled race. I think he did well in Gent Wevelgem it might have been like 2 years ago. So this could be an opportunity for him. EF, I'm not seeing many people. UAE have Christoph and Trentin, strong. And I'd see Christoph winning more likely than Trentin winning. I think that Trentin would be better off launching an attack early and combining with like a Stuyven and maybe somebody from Quickstep. That would be a good move. Ineos, nah. And Alpecin Fenix have Jasper Philipsen and Tim Merlier. Tim Merlier has looked in really good form. He's won a couple of kind of Belgian one-day races recently. But again, how do you decide Philipsen or Merlier?
Whoever's there at the end, then you decide.
What if they're both there? Then you just it's like Nason and Greg all over again.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to go with Merlier, personally. I think he's just got the better legs at the moment. But then again, Philipsen would be like, I almost beat Sam Bennett in a sprint the other day at Bruges de Pan. So that's kind of like, meh. Who do you choose there? So we're thinking, do you think that somebody will attack in the last few Ks? Do you think that crosswind is going to be significant to create anything?
I think it will be. I think it'll be significant for the teams that haven't quite got the sprinter that can execute a finish. So I think Citroën, whichever ones, maybe like UAE might try and make it hard because of Christoph.
Yeah,
you didn't mention.
Yeah.
The other team, and then Soudal, and then Trek. That's kind of 4 teams that I can see who would want to make it hard.
Yeah.
And then you've got like the big dog sprinters, De Koenig, Jumbo. You know, Bora if Ackerman can actually hack it.
Yeah.
And Groupama FDG.
Yeah. Kind of a big.
And maybe Alpecin who want to try and sit in a bit. Maybe Alpecin want to make it a bit hard. I think Merlier.
Yeah.
Could handle it.
Yeah, just a note. Michael Matthews, I think, crashed today in E3, so chances
let me play with a sad song on the world's smallest violin.
Mr. Krabs. This is serious. What a great episode. Yeah, I think that crosswinds will be good to see. I think more than likely De Koenig will be... I want to see them be aggressive. I want to see what they did today. Although it wasn't shown on the TV coverage, they full on just... Well, the TV coverage that we watched, you know, they just full on attacked into some crosswind bits and just like shredded the field. You know, I want to see that again. And I want to see them attack rather than just wait for a sprint. It just seems a bit dull. But then again, is that a safe option? Would they back Ballerini in a sprint against Wout van Aert? Is the thing. Would they say, okay, Wout van Aert's still here. What we're going to do is, you know, we've still got, let's say, hypothetically, another man goes here, let's say it's Asgreen. they'll have Lampard, Stibar, and Asgreen. Or maybe they send Seneschal, I'm not too sure. But they have like a couple of guys there. They keep one guy on Ballerini duty and they can just attack with others and just try allow Ballerini to sit in with like his lead-up man, force others to chase a bit.
I think that based off what we've learned today, De Koenig will not be trying to force it.
Yeah.
They've already achieved a victory this weekend of racing.
Yeah.
They don't need to try and force it like they did today. I think they'll just sit back and try and get Sam Bennett the victory.
Yeah.
If Sam gets spat, then I think they'll do what you've just said.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't really too much else to say, to be honest with you.
You just got to pick a victor.
You just got to pick a victor.
Or Victor. My bad.
I mean, yeah, there's not... In my eyes, I'm not seeing, like, a massive... There's definitely a couple of names. I'm thinking, like... I'm not sure about Quick-Step. I'm not sure. I think they'll do well, but I don't think they'll win. I don't think Mads Pedersen quite has the legs. I'm thinking that any crosswind action in the final will be shut down by Quick-Step and it'll come back to a sprint. In which case, I think that Christoph
He's done well before, to be fair. All the hate that I give him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Christoph coming off of like Wout van Aert's wheel. I think Quick-Step will lead it in. Ballerini sprinting. Wout van Aert behind him, and then Christoph behind him, and then Christoph winning. But it's a bit bold, but you know what? I'm fed up with all these lame ass people just picking these soft ass picks and just going with the favourites all the time.
In that case, then I'm gonna go with Tim Merlier.
Nice, I like that.
But I do feel like Wout will still be up there.
I think Wout will finish top 3. I'd be very surprised if he finished outside the top 5.
Yeah.
I think.
I just feel more like after today, he's either going to win or he is going to come back of the bunch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's going to be sprinting and coming 5th.
It depends how much. I think it really depends on Quick-Step. If they attack and Wout gets too keen and he's covering all the moves, then he's going to finish back of the bunch. And it just depends if one of those Quick-Step moves like goes. Like I'd say the most likely one would be Lampard or Stibar after today. They'd be most likely to attack and be able to hold it. Yeah, I think that's about it. We don't really need to say anything else. Gent Wevelgem, Sunday, Sprinters Classic, but there's going to be lots of crosswinds, so keep your eyes peeled. Try watch as much of it as you can, because of course you don't want to miss echelons. And then we'll be back for Dwars Doors Vlaanderen, which I think is on Thursday. And then of course we'll have Flanders next Sunday. Keeping this ball rolling, hey?
Wonderful.
Flanders weekend. There you go. Gent Wevelgem preview wrapped up in under 20 minutes. And yeah, I guess that's all left to say is to keep your maths on, stay safe, and that we'll talk to you next time. Salut!